Hi everyone, Pre-Algebra. This is Chapter 4, Lesson 6 on writing an equation. Welcome to my online classroom. Let's get started. Alright, in the past you have already translated verbal phrases into algebra expressions. Now by the end of this lesson you should be able to write a two-step equation from a sentence and solve that verbal problem by writing and solving two-step equations. So what we're doing is taking it out of the sentences and putting it into an equation so that we can solve it for the variable. Okay, so the first thing we want to do is translate sentences into equations. Translate this sentence into an equation. Jackie's mother is 28 years old, which is 4 times Jackie's age, A minus 8 years. We don't know what Jackie's age is, so we're going to let that be represented by A. But we do know that Jackie's mother is 28. So 28 equals 4 times Jackie's age minus 8. And again, we know that is equal to 28. This is 4 times Jackie's age minus 8. And so if you'll write those numbers above the words, then it's easier to translate it into an equation. And remember that order matters in subtraction. Alright, translate this sentence into an equation. 5 more than twice a number n is negative 25. Okay, let's change this. 5 more than, remember that's that magic word, twice a number is negative 25. So we have 2n plus 5 equals negative 25. Translate this sentence into an equation. Rafiq threw a baseball 84 miles per hour, which is 21 miles per hour less than twice the speed s that Jonah threw it. Alright, let's underline our important information. Alright, we know that he threw it 84 miles per hour, and we know that that is, that's my equal sign, 21 miles per hour less. Okay, so that means I started with something else because there's that magic word, 2 times the speed. We don't know what the speed is, so 2s minus 21 is equal to 84 miles per hour. And so if we wanted to solve this, we could add 21 to both sides, and we would have 2s equals 105, and then I would divide both sides by 2, and when I would find out that his speed was 52.5, and that's how you would solve it. Alright, let's translate this sentence into an equation. Nathan has $45 in savings. This is 3 times Roger's savings are minus 15. So 3 times Roger's minus 15, and that would be equal to 45. So let me give myself a little bit more room here. So I have 3 times, ooh, my goodness. You never know what's going to happen on this thing. I'm going to do 3 times Roger's savings minus 15 is equal to the $45 he has in savings. And so that would match up with A. All right, let's translate the next one. Translate this sentence into an equation. 7 more than twice a number. That magical number word of than keeps popping up more and more, doesn't it? More means to add. 7 more than 2 times a number is negative 19. So remember, you want to write 2n plus 2n first, plus 7 equals negative 19. So I believe our answer is going to be B. Okay. Translate this sentence into an equation. Izzy's softball team won 23 games, which is 4 less than 3 times as many games as Marcy's team. 3 times as many games, and we're going to let G represent games, but we don't know how many games, as Marcy's team. So I'm just going to go through here and find my important information. So I know that the team won 23 games. That's a total. So I'm going to let that equal 23. Because 23 games is 4 less than, so that's subtraction, 3 times as many games. 3 times as many games minus 4 is 20. Oh, I wrote 25. That's 23. Sorry. 23. So is it A, B, C, or D? That's a positive 3G and a negative 4. Positive 3G and negative 4. All right, A is a positive 3G and a positive 4, so that's not it. I believe it's going to be B, but let's check them all. That's a 4G plus 3. No. And 4G again, so it has to be B. All right, write and solve an equation. So this time we're going to write the equation and we're going to solve it. A baseball bat costs $41, which is 9 more than 4 times the wholesale cost of the bat. Find the bat's wholesale cost. All right, so let's see. The bat costs $41, which is 9 more than 4 times the wholesale cost of the bat. Well, I don't know what the wholesale cost of the bat is. That's what I'm trying to find out. So I'm going to let that be my variable, and I'm just going to use a B for bat. So I've got 41 equals 4B plus 9, because it's 9 more than 4 times the wholesale cost of the bat. Now I'm going to solve it. So if I subtract 9 from both sides, 41 minus 9 is 32 equals 4B. Now I'm going to divide both sides by 4, and I find out that the wholesale cost of the bat is $8. Okay, I'll run through it one more time. Let C be the cost of the bat, then 9 plus 4C is the cost of the bat, and we know that the baseball bat costs $41, so we're going to subtract 9 from both sides, and then divide by 4, and we find out the cost is C, which the wholesale cost of the bat is $8. All right, so let's check your progress. Ethan is 12 years more than twice as old as his son. Ethan is 32 years old. How old is his son? All right, Ethan is, that's my is, 12 years more than. So he's older, so that's plus 12 years. Twice as old as his son. Well, let me what do we use for our variable? Let's just use x. I don't like using s because it confuses me. So let's use x to represent the sun, because we don't know how old the sun is. But we know that Ethan is, what, 32 years old. So let's do twice as old as the sun plus 12 years equals Ethan's age of 32. So let's subtract 12 from both sides. And now the last thing we want to do is divide both by 2, and we find out that the sun's age is 10 years old. So that has to be D. Okay. Mrs. Parsons earns $200 each week plus $25 for each pair of shoes that she sells. How many pairs of shoes does she need to sell to earn $1,000 per week? All right, Miss Parsons earns $200 each week plus $25 for each pair of shoes that she sells. So first thing you have to do is understand what you're looking for. Second thing you have to do is you have to plan it. You have to write an equation to represent the situation. So we're going to let S be the number of shoes because we don't know how many shoes that she's going to sell. But we have to figure out how many pairs of shoes does she need to sell to earn $1,000. So we know that we want the end result to be $1,000 and that she gets $200 every week no matter how many pairs of shoes she sells, but she gets an extra $25 a week for every pair of shoes she sells. So we have an equation. $1,000 is how much she needs, $200 is what she gets every week, and she gets an additional $25 for every pair of shoes she sells. So now let's solve it for S. Let's subtract 200 from both sides of the equation. We get 800 equals 25S, and what's the opposite of multiplying 25 times S? Divide each side by 25, and you find out that she has to sell 32 pairs of shoes, probably to Miss Pettit, because Miss Pettit loves shoes. She has to sell that many pairs of shoes to earn $1,000 per week. All right, one more. Shopping. All right, Tammy spends $175 at the grocery store, and that is $25 less than 4 times as much as Ted spent. How much did Ted spend? Okay, so I have a total of $175, and that is 175 is 25 less, so I'm going to subtract $25 from something. 4 times as much as Ted spent, so it's 4T. I'm not going to use that T because that looks too much like an addition sign. There's a T. So we'll do 4T times Ted, 4 times as much as Ted, minus the $25. And then if we solve that, we're going to add 25 to both sides. We get $200 is equal to 4T. Then we're going to divide both sides by 4. And we find out that Ted spends $50. Okay, that's the end of our lesson. See you tomorrow.